Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Brim Fishing Project. In this episode, we are headed down to St. George's Basin to cover the Grant Kime Memorial Round of the East Coast Brim Series. This was an extra special event named to honour the memory of our good mate Grant. Anyway, I'm going to roll the intros and let's get straight into it. Here we go.
Welcome to the Brim Fishing Project. This is where you need to be every Tuesday to find out all the latest tips and tricks to help you target brim on lures. You'll get to hear from some of Australia's elite brim competition anglers and see how they were able to achieve their results in competitions around the country. Now, here's your host, the 2019 Hobie Kayak Fishing World Champion, Andrew Deeth.
All right. So, look, on a personal note with this one, I was a bit disappointed to not go down and be part of this. But in any case, it was great to see some familiar faces on all the videos and photos through social media. And everyone I've spoken to seems to have the same opinion. This was a great round and a fitting tribute in memory of our good mate. In any case, I'm going to get into all the details and we'll get into the angler interviews. I think I've got 4 interviews for this round. So how good is that? Here we go. Okay, so 21st of April 2024, St. George's Basin. In the fish activity wheel, we had 70, so that was pretty decent. A major bite period at 8:36 through to 11:06 a.m. with a high tide at 6:33 a.m. at 1.27. Low tide was at 12:47 at 0.37. The interesting thing with the tides at the basin, sometimes they can just be totally opposite. It really depends on a lot of different factors. All right, and as you'll be aware, in this competition, they have a 3-fish bag. The winning bag came in at 3 fish for 2.39, which gives you just under 800 grams average per fish. So nice little healthy average and a great little competition. Anyway, we're going to jump straight into the angler interviews with this one, and here we go. Okay, so coming in equal third place, dropping 3 fish for 2.18 kilos, I'd like to welcome back to the Brim Fishing Project, Marlon Thompson and Liam Allen. Welcome, guys.
Thanks, Andrew.
Cheers, Deethy. Thanks for having us.
Well, there you go, guys. Nice little result for you guys on the weekend. What we might do is, because you're like Marlon, you're a local, so I'm guessing you did a bit of pre-fishing. So let's ask the question. Did you get out for a pre-fish?
Yeah, Deethy, there's a bit of a definite advantage, I think, to living so close to one particular arena, but I'm sure that happens to lots of different people at their various, local. But yeah, I've been fishing pretty consistently for the last month or so, I guess, before the round to try and get a bit of a read on the place, because it can, I don't know if it's more so than other fisheries, but it certainly can fluctuate a little bit week to week and certainly month to month in terms of bite patterns and fish behaviour, definitely I've noticed. So yeah, tried to get a little bit of a read on it, but even the things that I've picked up in the last month or so, as you probably will hear, I guess the patterns definitely changed again, even from the previous weekend to the comp day. So yeah, I had a few chances to get out for a pre-fish, including the day before. So it was good to get a read on it anyway.
And in the last couple of weeks, you caught any crackers? You caught any big ones?
Yeah, got a couple of good ones, which you'd love to have on comp day, but nothing huge. The basin probably isn't renowned for anything, really big, but anything pretty much as a kilo is a really good fish, I reckon, for the basin. So I've got a couple up around that mark, over the last month or so.
Yeah, nice. In the lead up to it, now we got flogged up here in terms of rain. We got really heavy rain just over a couple of days. What was it like down there? Did you get much fresh in the system?
Yeah, so Liam actually came down that weekend where we did get that big downpour, and most of the rain, came down on that. I think it was the Saturday night or something like that, and we went and fished. Well, sorry, it was the Friday night, and we fished the Saturday, and there was a lot of fresh water coming down the creeks and stuff into the basin. But even without much tidal movement in the basin, it cleaned up quite quickly afterwards, because that was only 2 weeks before the round, and most of the actual basin area was pretty clean by then. Up the creeks is still a little bit murky, but cleaned up quite quick.
Very good. All right, let's move on to comp day. maybe give us an idea of how your day went, whether you got your fish early or late, and what you caught them on.
Yeah, well, we started off. We got a couple of fish early. I think, Glenn, we got our fish by 8 o'clock. I think you said we got our bag. I'm pretty sure. Is that right?
Yeah. I had a little bit of time, and it was pretty much bang on 8 o'clock when the third fish went into the well. So yeah, and that was that was a decent start. They weren't big fish, but they were good little bag fillers, I suppose.
Yeah, okay. What'd the early fish come on?
They were cranks and sprats. I'm pretty sure we were fishing. Yeah, the Hurricane Sprat 75 and the Pro Lure S36 in black. Pretty much what I'd say most of our fish came on all day, pretty much. So, yeah, maybe a couple of hits on jerkbaits and stuff like that. But, yeah, our first couple of fish were on those two lures.
Okay, so if you were using the S35, so I take it you were targeting shallows and edges and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, so we started off launching from Palm Beach. We fished weed edges, and we both like to fish shallow if we can. I'm not very good personally anyway at fishing deep, so I enjoy fishing shallow. So we fished fish shallow. I knew that there's good fish shallow anyway, so yeah, we're targeting more or less. A lot of our fish that we're getting were sometimes only inches of water, but usually a foot to maybe 3 feet of water on weedy, sandy kind of bottoms.
Yeah, cool. So you got your bag by 8 o'clock. How'd you go about upgrading them?
Sifting through a few perch to start with and a lot of bycatch. We got onto a big school of perch. Liam got a few crackers, got a big salmon, some big trevally, some big whiting. So we were sifting through a few different options. But yeah, after kind of 8 o'clock, all the areas where I'd found fish on the pre-fish the weeks and months prior, it was just dead. And everyone that we spoke to after the comp just said that there wasn't many big bags caught this comp. I wouldn't have thought that a 2.18 kilo bag should get you any better than a top 10. But yeah, there was just not really many bags over 2 kilos caught. So
yeah,
everyone seemed to kind of struggle, but we just kind of had to scrap everything that I had almost learned over the last month or so and just go try and find new areas and try to go fishing to find where the fish were. Because I knew from experience fishing the basin that once you find fish, you don't necessarily just find big fish. You quite often just have to sift through to get to the bigger ones. You have to catch 10 fish before you get one decent one type thing. So we essentially just went spot hopping and luckily enough found one area and stuck to it to get most of our bag pretty much. Came off one edge that we just kept on fishing. I think we fished it 3 or 4 times pretty much, just because there's so many boats in that one comp. You're better off fishing an area that you know that you fished versus another spot that somebody else may have fished 5 times before you kind of get there. So yeah, it's hard. It's a bit of a hard one, but if you know there's fish there, it's kind of worth logging it until you know that there's definitely no other catchable fish there pretty much.
Fair enough. I mean, it was an interesting day in terms of you had the comp with, all the boats in this, and you also had the Pertec Fishing Challenge on the same day. So which I'm sure that added to the mix of boats on the water.
Certainly.
Yeah, right. Didn't even know that Pertec Challenge was on. There you go. Oh, I don't know about you, Mal, but I didn't even know that Pertec Challenge was even on that day. So there you go.
Yeah, you could have fished both. It would have been all right.
That probably explains a few boats that were flinging baits over the flats. We thought, they're not fishing. They're not fishing with lures. What are they doing in the comp?
Yep. It was a whole different comp. All right. Let's run through. So you must have got a couple of reasonable upgrades. You ever had small ones. Do you reckon they came more on sprats or more on the Pro Lure?
Yeah, they probably came.
They were mostly on sprats, I'd say.
Yeah, I think sprats probably got most of the attention from both of us for most of the day, but the crank's got, I think, the black crank did get one of our ones that finished in the bag, but most of them were on the sprats, just on that broken, weedy, sandy stuff. So yeah, we just persisted with the sprat for most of the day. We kind of changed up. We had we tried to have one bloke fishing a sprat and one bloke fishing a crank at the same time. And yeah, I'd say the sprat got probably 70 to 80% of our fish. The crank got one or two good ones, but yeah, certainly the sprat was probably the standout there, Deethy.
Okay. So if you're fishing that sort of broken ground, what jig head did you tie it onto, and how were you working it for the sprat?
That 75's just basically rigged on a TT 120th hidden weight with a size 1 hook. It just seems to be the perfect combination. You get a decent cast with it. Doesn't sink too quick. It glides down nicely, and basically just let it sink for 1 or 2 seconds and give it a pretty good flick with the rod tip and a shake and a twitch and a whatever, and make it look like a prawn flicking about. And then give it a couple of seconds to glide, and basically just keeping it over the top of the weed, not letting it get down stuck in the weed or the little sand holes. Yeah, just a flick and a whip around basically, and let them grab it.
Yeah, okay. And did you guys have a preferred colour in the sprat?
Yeah, the cleaver and any greenish colour is usually our favourite. That was put on to me by Jason Mabry and a few of my other mates have recommended that colour, especially in the Basin, to work quite well. So that seems to be the go-to. But another thing with the technique on those sprats, when it was really, really shut down, like a lot of people were finding, and even we were finding, they weren't super aggressive. A lot of the fish were coming, like on the lift, you weren't even detecting bites. It was more just like you leave the lure sort of sitting on the weed or on the floor bed for a couple of seconds or even half a second extra, and when you're lifting up was when you were getting the bites, which generally isn't the case. Usually 90% of the fish are coming on the drop. You'll actually see a tick in your line or feel it through your rod tip, and that's when you're kind of striking. But yeah, on that particular day, a lot of the fish were just coming, you're sort of just winding them on almost as you're kind of flicking the rod tip up.
Right. Okay. Well, there you go. I'm hearing more and more reports about the sprats going well in the Basin. It seems to be anyone that's fishing it regularly and that uses them is getting good results.
Yeah, Dick, it's a terribly kept secret. So, yeah, don't let anyone know, but they do it right.
Yeah, no, not telling anyone, mate.
Yeah.
All right. So you were able to get to 2.18. So so you had fish. Were they all sort of around that 700 grams, or did you have a standout?
There was one better one. There was one that was about a 39 tipper, probably a 900 odd gram fish, and then two that were, I think there was one that was about a 32.5 fork and a 31.5 fork or something around there. So there was one better fish, and the other two were just standard, I guess, size.
Yeah, nice. All right. Now, throughout the day, so you got your fish, you got some upgrades. Was there any heartbreak that you want to share with us?
Marlon, I'll let you talk.
Yeah, unfortunately there was, just a bit of a, I guess you'd call it unlucky, potentially a little bit of poor preparation on my behalf in terms of not checking your hooks. But yeah, there was, because we kind of had our bag by, I'd say, almost 10 o'clock. The bag that we ended up with was probably all done and dusted by about 10, and we spent the last 3 to 4 hours just searching for that upgrade. And I knew with you just got to kind of grind away and try and sift through fish to get that one big fish, and we just weren't getting a whole lot of numbers after we kind of got our bag. So I went to a spot that we actually fished last year and got all of our good fish last year, and it was probably my spot that I know that I've caught the most big fish in all my time fishing the Basin there. So I persisted just fishing the jackal spytail for maybe the last hour on this one flat, just hoping for one bite. And it was almost a glass out. The wind had started backing off. It was bright sunshine. And I just watched this big fish come out from the weed beds and just actually hooked the jackal spytail that I was fishing briefly, and then pulled the hooks on it. And he actually came back again, only a couple of meters from the boat, grabbed it. I saw him clear as day, and then he just turned and ran. Potentially had the drag set a bit tight, potentially on the wrong rod, maybe a little bit of a stiffer rod than I should have been using. And unfortunately the hooks maybe were a little bit too old and a little bit too brittle, and must have just been pinned in one of the back trebles, and the actual shank of the treble hook snapped. And
Oh,
yeah, it was a bit of a heartbreak with probably 15, 20 minutes to go. So
ouch.
it was, bit of a sad story, but that's how it goes sometimes. So it wasn't to be.
No, and look, the good thing about that is you did hook it. There's nothing. I think it's worse if you go out and fish a comp and you don't hook a big one. You go, I didn't hook anything good all day, so at least you're a chance.
We have a good laugh about it now, but yeah, at the time it was pretty tense, Deethy. There was some colourful language on the boat, but yeah, no, we have a bit of a chuckle about it now.
Fair enough.
We had a laugh because we knew it was probably, like we'd said to ourselves all pretty much the second half of the comp, that we just need one big fish and we're in with a genuine shot at taking this home. And it came. We did everything right to get the bite, and then a bit of unlucky, I'd say bit of luck went the wrong way. And yeah, like I said, a bit of preparation, but yeah, all good fun. We had a bit of a laugh afterwards because we knew we'd probably blown it, but yeah, that's fishing for sure.
That is fishing for sure. And this is the thing, like, yeah, new hooks or new lures before comps is always a good plan.
Yeah, it was funny earlier in the day because we went for a pre-fish that night. We had a few beers and had a look at my leaders, and I was like, oh, can I be bothered to try retime? And in the end, we got too lazy. They were all pretty new leader knots anyway. And earlier on in the day, one of my lead knots snapped on a fish as well, and I was just like, oh, we're going to pay for being lazy last night. And then, sure enough, at the end of the day, something like that had to happen. So probably wasn't something that I would have done because I didn't have the exact hooks to replace them with. But yeah, it just goes to show you got to take the 1%ers every time you go fishing, and especially in comps if you want to really seriously convert every chance you get.
Yeah, you make a good point. You do have to convert your chances, but even if you're social fishing, you still want to catch the fish. You don't want to spend all the time getting to the water and spend all your money or do all that sort of stuff and then not land a fish because you got a faulty leader or a hook or whatever. So it's a good point.
Yeah, absolutely. I've always wondered if you prepare.
Half time of Saturday night footy is probably a good time to tie some leaders instead of cracking another beer.
It could be. It could well be. All right. Well, anyway, look, that's all good. For the weekend, were you guys, what sort of lines and leaders were you running?
It was 4-pound leaders pretty much all across the board, and then various different types of braid. I think we were both running P.6 of various different brands, but yeah, some thin braid and 4-pound leaders pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. So pretty standard sort of basin gear. All right. Now, as I said in the intro, you guys came equal a third with Lee and Todd. Do you want to tell us what they did with that and what you ended up taking home?
Yeah, so it was, equal third. I think it was just split evenly between the two teams because it was both 2.18 kilos exactly according to the scale. So there was no kind of tiebreaker or anything like that. So it was $600 we got to take home, which was...
That's tidy.
Yeah, it was a good result anyway in the end.
Yeah, that's enough to pay for a new packet of trebles for Marlon.
Might grab a couple.
Yeah, maybe some leader.
Yeah.
It's such a, we laugh, but 10 grams, one upgrade of 10 grams splits that, and 100 grams puts you into second, just to rub it in a bit.
Yeah, it's fine margins in fishing, that's for sure. So
it really is.
Every little bit helps.
Yeah, when they talk about 1%ers, it's actually really, really true. All right, so a few $100 for your efforts. All right, is there anyone you guys want to give a shout out to before we head off?
Yeah, I'll start. So there's a few people that have helped me out recently, which has been really good. Whilst I've been trying to get into competition fishing a little bit more seriously, I guess you'd say. So Totally Immersed Water Sports here in Huskisson have helped me out with a few little things. And Steve at tackleaddiction.com.au has been really good in just advice and friendship over towards getting into tournament fishing and also with his gear that he's got for sale. So yeah, and also just mates and the people that you meet through tournament fishing is it's really welcoming community across, whether it's, the kayaks is fantastic, or whether it's the ABT or Big Brim or even these East Coast Brim series. Everyone that you meet are really great guys with the same passion as you, and you meet some people that certainly help you in your fishing journey and friendships and everything like that. So it's been great.
Yeah, I'd just like to give a quick shout out. I don't know if many people to thank, Deethy, but you might remember from last time, Team Schmutzen from Canberra. Those boys are great. They keep me keen on me fishing. I'm obviously up there in the capital, a fair way from the nearest brim, but those boys keep me keen. So, yeah, another shout out to Team Schmutzen.
Very good, mate. Very good. All right, guys. Champion effort. Thanks for coming on, being such good sports. Yeah, hopefully we'll talk to you guys before the end of the season.
Cheers, Deethy. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Deethy. Thanks for having us, mate. Have a good night.
You too. All right, fishing.com.au, your one-stop brim lure and tackle shop. Pick up the latest tackle, including Muscle Vibes, Cranker Grabs, OSP Bent Minnows, Z-Man Plastics, Eco Gear Lures, and Daiwa Rods and Reels and Tackle. Same-day shipping. Shop where the world champion, the Australian champion, and the current ABT champion shops. Fishing.com.au, online or in-store at shop 18/29 Kiora Road, Miranda. Then looking on the homepage of fishing.com.au, there's one thing that comes straight to my attention. Of course, the River 2C Baby Vibe in a new colour, in the new cockle colour, as well as all the old favourites. Yeah, definitely. I think you want to get your hands on these. Adam's done a nice little job of taking some photos here. He's got a pack of them, 10-pack of River 2C Baby Vibes in cockle at $89.99. You do have to put some hooks and rings on them, but still a cheap lure for something that catches so many fish. And I can't wait to get my hands on these so I can go out and have a throw. So fishing.com.au. Righto. So in equal third place, I have Team Bolton Lures. They dropped 3 fish on the scales for 2.18. And with me, I have Lee Bolton and Todd Cameron. Welcome back to the show, guys.
Thanks, Deethy.
How you going, mate?
You guys would be pretty thrilled to be in third place down there at the Basin.
Again, it was a bit of a surprise, but we worked for it.
Yeah. And I'm looking forward to you telling your story. But now, as everyone knows, I usually ask if you had a pre-fish, but you guys didn't do that. You guys got up at ridiculous o'clock in the morning to drive down. You want to tell us about that?
Yeah, that was a 1:10 departure. And the pre-fish was basically Google Maps on the highway and checking the weather and the rainfall and just sticking to a plan. And, yeah, it worked out.
Right. Okay. All right. So you're driving down, you're trying to work out where to go. What was your plan? Like before you started fishing, what was your plan?
Plan was to basically, we had a result last year, so we thought, let's just start with where we finished. So it was go and find the flats, not knowing really what the conditions were down there. We'd known that 160-odd mils of rain earlier in the month, so we weren't quite sure what it was going to look like, the water temps or anything of the sorts. So we thought, throw caution to the wind. We'll do what we said we were going to do. So we straight up into the flats and started casting, mate.
Nice. All right. Well, then tell us how your day went. How'd you go about getting them?
Just found sort of patchy, broken ground up on the flats, and then one with a crank and one with a surface, and see if we'll get a thing started. The surface bite was, the fish were there, but they weren't that interested. They weren't committing to the lure, so stuck to the cranks and just kept pushing closer and closer to the shore, basically, until we found a patch of decent fish. And then when we found them, it was go time.
Right. Okay. So the surface didn't work. So then you went to cranks. So tell us about that. Tell us about how they came.
Just spotting timber on the edge of the bank, basically, and get your lure as close as you can, hit the shadow. And then got one cast in, and there was probably like 3 fish. 3 fish came racing out. Then I stopped the lure, and one just annihilated it. And then that was the first one in the bag. And, yeah, just continued.
Yeah, okay. So basically you were pulling fish they must have been right on the very edges.
Yeah, it's probably like a metre off the bank.
Wow, that's interesting. I was down there 6 weeks ago. I definitely couldn't find them on the edges like that. So there's obviously changed their pattern a little bit.
Yeah, it was strange. They were coming out. A lot of them were coming out of the reeds.
Okay.
So it was a rising tide, and you'd sort of find one that was sitting out the front, and he'd chase it, and then they'd come out of the shrubs and the reed, and they were everywhere.
Yeah. Okay. And how'd you go? Did you get many?
Oh, look, it wasn't a red hot bite for the amount of fish that were there. It was just finding that one out of the pack that would chase it and hunt it down. But it was slow but consistent.
Yeah. Okay. And were they more likely to hit it on the paws? Like, did you have to stop it to get a bite?
Yeah, it was all about the paws. Just the real twitchy retrieve, and then you'd see him come out, pause it, and then they'd pretty much annihilate it.
Yeah, okay.
A lot of followers, but...
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's really interesting. And were you running, Lee, were we running your lures?
Yeah, mate, that's all we threw all day. I painted up a couple of colours, especially for the Basin, based on like the ones we were using last year, which was a green and orange type colour. So, yeah, I come up with a variation of that, which we've called Shrek.
Very good.
And there was another one which we've painted. It's a yellowy black sort of colour. We called that one the Canary.
Fair enough.
And then one we've called Peach Face, which is it's a browny sort of orange colour.
Yeah.
Shrimp pattern on it. And when you throw it in the water, it looks opaque peach. So that's sort of what we gave it.
Okay. So you've been painting lures for quite a while now. What's your take on colours? Like, when do they make a difference? When don't they make a difference?
Not so much, mate. It's more like, yeah, that's a hard question. I've found over the years, I used to paint a lot of solid colours, whereas I mainly do transparent colours now. I know up here in our local waterway, Tuggerah Lakes, a lot of greens, browns, and purples. They work really well up here. So a lot of them are based sort of on what we fish up here. Hence why we look for areas that we like to fish up here, hoping that they'll work wherever we go. But yeah, colours. I don't know. I found greens to be consistent everywhere.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it's interesting because you're from sort of that Central Coast area. I would have thought black. I thought you'd be rolling black.
No, black has its day, but I still reckon green's probably one of the best ones around here anyway.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's really interesting. And the lures that you're painting, are they what are they like? Are they like a chubby, or are they like an SX40 style lure, or what do they look like?
The ones we were using were
chubby style.
Chubbies.
Yeah.
Which we call tubbies.
Yeah. Few different patterns of a chubby, basically.
Yeah, okay.
A shallow and a mid diver.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So with the fish, you said you kind of got them consistently throughout the day. What about the fish that ended up in your bag? When did they sort of arrive?
One was early.
Yeah, first one was probably half an hour into it.
Yeah, okay.
And then just that sort of when we got all the follows and seeing schools of fish come out of the reeds and fish sort of solid for a good couple 100 metres of bank.
A few small fish.
Yeah, for a few small ones. And
Tailor, flathead.
Yeah. It's not a brim comp if you don't catch a flathead, but...
Oh, that's right, especially down there.
And then, yeah, the wind it died right off. It glassed out and the sort of sun had moved over, so we lost the shadows that were on the bank. So we sort of pushed out a little bit wider, hoping to sort of get them over the top of the weed there. And noticed a few of the boys were starting to move off the deeper edges that they were fishing, so we sort of looked at each other and went, right, we need to come up with something here. We knew the fish were in there. We could always come back. So we decided to push back down towards the mouth. We're not that far. We didn't get past the point.
Yeah.
And, found a
little horseshoe drop-off from like 0.8 to probably 2.5 metres.
Yep.
And a drift of probably, 100, 150 metres, and just kept going back and did probably 3 or 4 drifts and got 1 or 2 fish every drift. And they were good fish. That was where we got smoked twice. Saw one of them which looked like a salad platter. It was that big. But, yeah, that's fishing.
Yeah. How'd they get you? Did they bust you up, or they bend hooks? Or
well, someone might have forgot to set his drag from when he had his rod tied onto the boat on the highway. So by the time I'd realised I got my fingertips to the drag setting, and that's when the language started.
Right. Like foreign language, like Chinese or something?
It was English, but it wasn't the sort of English you'd say at the dinner table. Let's just say that.
Fair enough, and probably not right here. So, there you go. All right, so you lost a couple. That's disappointing given how close the comp was. When was your sort of last bag fish for the day? What sort of time was that?
Probably 20 to 2.
Right, okay. So you fished it right out.
Yeah, we fished to the death. We're pretty well straight across from the launch spot, which is pretty well how we finished it last year. So we knew it was only a couple of minutes run back. So we pushed and pushed, just hoping for that one last cracker, which we got.
Yeah.
Did get another upgrade.
Got the upgrade.
Okay.
Just hoping for the salad platter to come back and climb on board again, or if not one of his good mates.
That's right. I mean, you're only 220 grams off a win. It's not, if you take your smallest fish out and put a bigger fish in, it's not that big a difference.
Yeah, the fish were big, but they weren't well conditioned. Like a lot of people had big fish at the weigh-in and like big proper brim, and they were sort of all going between 700 and 800 grams.
Yeah, I think our biggest was about 8. But on any other day, it should have been a little bit larger.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask, did you?
Well, that's how it is. At least everyone had the same sort of issue. So.
Yeah, that was just a skinny run of fish. But did you guys see any prawns or any bait fish in the shallows?
Yes, heaps of bait.
Yeah, heaps of bait. No prawns, but
okay, interesting.
Yeah, the water was brown in the lake, and then once you got up over into the flats, it was gin clear.
Yeah,
and that's all. Yeah, gin clear and about 3 degrees cooler than the deeper waters. So that's where we sort of thought,
okay,
this might not fish that well, but they were there.
Yeah, okay, they're up in the clear water. All right. And in terms of lines and leaders, what do you guys run for the weekend?
Pretty well standard for us is we just 6 pound leader,
9 pound braid.
Yeah, 9 pound braid, 6 pound leader. Yeah,
that's about it across the whole board, I think.
Yeah, and are you guys believers of scent? Do you put scent on your lures?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's what we call. It's a good old gulp gel, mate. We call it science because you can't argue with science.
Yeah. Fair enough. Okay, yeah, but it's an added attractant to your lures, which is obviously going to make a difference at some point.
Yeah, if they have a sniff, they tend to come back or crunch it. So,
there you go.
Especially the way they'll follow.
Yeah, I think it helps.
Yeah, I think, like you said, on the days where they do follow and you can't just get them to commit, it's definitely worth having a look at what scent you've got.
Yeah, look, it can't hurt.
Yeah. All right. Very good. All right. Well, that was enough to bring you guys back in equal third. What did you guys get to take home for the weekend?
$600, Davey.
Nice. A nice little pay pack at the end of the weekend.
Yeah, it definitely helps.
All right. So that's a great rundown, guys. Just before we head off, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, mate. Give a shout out to the boys at Western Sydney Brim and Bass. Mate, they do a good job running the East Coast Brim series and gives us somewhere to escape to once a month. And yeah, it's a well-run series, and yeah, looking forward to the next round anyway. And I dare say our lovely partners who allow us to go fishing. So
yeah, better say thanks to them.
Yeah, and yeah, Mr. Cameron next to me, mate. I reckon we have the most fun out there. Win, lose, fish, no fish. It's always good times aboard the Bolton Lewis party pontoon.
Fair enough. All right, guys. Are we done there?
All good.
Yeah, mate.
All good? All right, fantastic. All right, guys, I want to thank you guys for coming on again. Yeah, good luck in the next one.
Thanks,
Cheers,
Davey.
All right, thanks, guys. Okay, look, if you're in the market for a new fishing kayak or looking to make some upgrades to your existing kayak or possibly looking at kayak fishing tournaments, then HWS is the place to go. They have a full range of Hobie kayaks, stock the latest kayak accessories, and are really dialed in when it comes to the best kayak fishing setup for the casual fisho and the tournament angler. hws.com.au, online or in store at shop 3/633. That's wrong. 3/638 Pacific Highway, Belmont. You go to 633, you're going to go to the wrong place. Free delivery on Hobie kayaks across all of Greater Sydney, Central Coast and Hunter. Now, listen, I jumped online, as I normally do, to see what's going on at HWS. And I just jumped across to their kayak section and over to the Hobie Mirage Outback. So this is Outback. I think it's probably the most popular one they've got across the whole range. Like all the kayaks do different things. Like the Lynx is super light. The Pro Anglers are big and stable but heavy. So, lots of different things going for them. You want to split it down the middle and get a really super functional kayak that's going to do the job, keep you comfortable, give you good storage. I don't think you can go far past the Outback. Now, I had the original Outbacks for a long time, really loved it. And honestly, the only reason I moved from an Outback was to go to a 360 drive. Only reason. So if you are really in the market, then have a look at the Outback. I do like the new Sunrise color, the Sunrise camo, which is an orange camo color. Looks really cool to me. I reckon it'd be pretty easy to see on the water, which is good in terms of safety. And you're going to look very cool. Anyway, starting around that $5,500 mark, if you're interested in one of those, jump online or give James a call and see what he can do for you. If you're around Sydney, Central Coast, Hunter, or even a bit further, he's usually pretty happy to get that delivered straight to your door. How good is that? hws.com.au. Okay, so coming in a second place, I have Team Powerpole Daiwa. Now, this team consists of Mark Crompton, Glenn Ross, and Sean Egan. Now, however, Cromo is fighting for his spot in this team. They've actually done quite well in the last couple of events, and he's struggling to get a run. In any case, they dropped 3 fish for 2.27 and came in second place. I want to welcome to the show Glenn Ross and Sean Egan. Welcome, guys.
Thanks, Andrew.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
Yeah, like I was saying, mate, you've got the Australian champion, and mate, he can't get a run on the boat that he owns.
Yeah, so he won this boat in the ABT Grand Final last year, supposedly, and supposedly he can't fit it in his garage, and it's in my garage at the moment. And so possession's 9/10 of the law, really. So it's mine and Shauno's now.
Yeah. What do you reckon, Sean?
I agree, and there's a list of things we've got to talk to Cromo about, which Glenn can talk about later.
The things that he needs to fix up.
Yeah.
On the boat?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, we were going to write an email to the complaints department and, just listing out all the issues with the boat. And, he's got to improve his ABT results before we'll be back into this team, I think.
That's it. I think, like all those years you fished together, I think the true colours are showing through now, like who was in control and who was getting the runs on the board.
Yeah, that's right, mate. I've been propping him up for pretty much 20 years now. And, as soon as we take him out of the team, we get on the podium. So that's how it rolls.
That's how it rolls. All right, let's get around to it. So the Basin on the weekend, first of all, did you guys get down there and have a pre-fish before the round?
No, mate. So pretty busy, all of us, families, all of that sort of stuff. So we basically just have to rely on our experience now. And we've been coming to this venue for pretty much 20 years. And we used a bit of information just on weather from the previous day. We could see that it was blowing predominantly southerly, quite strong throughout the whole day on Saturday. So we knew it was going to be a tough pre-fish anyway to be out on the water. I was probably glad we didn't. And we could see the forecast for Sunday was quite similar, overcast and wind from the south, but probably with the wind dying off from the south during the day. So we had a plan of attack without the pre-fish, just based on experience and the wind direction.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's roll into the Saturday and tell us how your day started and how you went about catching your fish. Sunday, sorry.
Sunday, yeah. Go, Shauno. You have a crack, mate.
Yeah, mate. Well, as Rossi said, mate, we had a bit of a plan of hitting some banks and edges, and due to the fact that it was a tribute to Kime and a memorial to Kime, we sort of made the call early in the piece that we're going to do the Kime fish and with the Duro style baits and hit that shallow water. So speaking to Rossi, we decided to hit, I think it's Errol Bay, just around the corner from the start, first thing on the Sunday morning, and that long flat on the inside edge there, and fished in that, half a metre to a metre of water. And we went straight in there, and pretty much within, I think, the second cast, I think, Rossi, you hooked your first one, which was a decent fish, was a good fish to start off with. And then, a couple of casts later, we hooked another, and I think within 15 minutes we had our bag of only three. It's a bit different to catching 5, of course, but had the bag in 15 minutes, and the day just started from there.
Wow. Okay, so Glenn, you got the first fish. Can you run us through how you go about targeting those shallow waters with the fire baits or the hurricanes?
Yeah. Look, to be honest, the Duros were an awesome lure for the day, but the Hurricane Sprat, I think, is just an improvement on that lure. I think the eyes stay on a little bit better. I think the material it's made out of is less able to be ripped open and stuff like that. So we were fishing mainly just flats rods, 7 foot plus dial rods, dial reels, 2,500 size reels. We fish the same technique, whether it's myself, Sean, or Cromo. We have a very similar technique, and we've kind of bounced off each other over the years, I think, and refined the technique. Pretty much 4 pound leaders, 2 rod lengths of leader. We're fishing the Daiwa jig heads. They are outstanding to keep those lures on the hook. You don't need to use super glue or anything like that. They hold really well. And we tried a couple of different weights, but we found 1/20th was the one that worked best for us, which in that sort of depth of water, you'd probably say is maybe a little bit heavy, but the wind was pretty strong in the morning. So we're just trying to offset that wind a little bit. And size 1 and 1/0 hooks on that setup. Yeah, and the technique is really cast it out, use the wind, cast it high with the wind directly behind you, cast it high, let it take it as far as you can. What we do is engage the bail arm just before, probably a couple of meters before the lure hits the water, and we're actually winding fast. So what we're trying to do is have the lure hit the water and then skim along the top for about 1 meter, 2 meters, and then dead stick it. Just let it just hit the bottom. And we actually got one fish straight off the dead stick. And I really enjoy that because it's hooked up as far as you can cast out. So you actually get to enjoy the fight all the way back in. So, that is a technique we've been using for a while, and really brings a fish that might be nowhere near where it lands, but they're looking up going, oh, what's that? And it looks like a prawn just fleeing across the surface of the water and then dropping straight down. We found they were just on that morning. They were just following it in. We hooked some fish that, you can't always tell whether it was the same fish, but we had some that felt like they're having 2 or 3 goes at it before they were hooking up. Yeah, so it was really good fun. And the retrieval technique is, I don't know if it's that unique, but it's hard to sort of put it in words, but put it in sounds. Like it's like a bop, 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 just like shaking your rod tip, like trying to shake a little piece of weed off the top of your rod, slowly winding and just bop, 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 and then dead stick it, let it sit there, and then they'll come over and eat it often on the pause. So, Sean, I don't know if you can put it in sort of your words, but I think we were using a similar technique, yeah?
Yeah, exactly right. Now, the only thing I'd say, mate, is the one thing I started with on that morning was a hidden weight. I was on like a 32nd or a 40th hidden weight, and predominantly that's what I usually start with when we're fishing that shallow. Just I probably have a slightly different feel around those weeds where I don't want to sort of bury into the weed or get into that weed. I want to sort of just stay above it. But I found I only cast that for probably 5 or 6 casts, and as soon as Rossi hooked up, I changed straight to that jig head, and same thing. As soon as I went to the 20th, bang, I got fish straight away. So it was so that's the other thing about being in that team environment, and that you can sort of, one guy can do one thing and one can do the other, and straight away as soon as I swapped over to the 20th too, the bite just started for me as well. So it was a good little learning exercise on that one as well.
Yeah. Okay. I was curious because my go-to would have been a hidden weight just because it'll make the lure sit a bit more horizontal in the water. But running a jig head's obviously going to give you a different drop.
Yeah, and sorry, Rossi, that's what I probably, when I saw Rossi get that fish straight up, I thought, okay, hang on, there's something here, because normally your confidence lure for me is that hidden weight, and straight away Rossi just went bang, and I went, oh, hang on a minute, this is not right, I'm going to swap straight away, and I didn't, and same thing happened. So, but it must be just that presentation, a little bit more vertical presentation, a bit more sitting up on the bottom and floating rather than sitting flat.
How does that change when you go from that sort of that 600 mil to a metre, and if you head out into deeper water, say 1.5 metres to 1.8, 2 metres, is there a difference there?
Yeah, I mean, we deliberately didn't want to fish that sort of depth this time round, but yeah, we would just normally just revert to a heavier jig head. So from a 1/20th, we go to a 1/16th and just use a similar technique.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's the other thing too, like on the day, if you looked at the rods we had rigged on the deck, we had everything from hidden weights through to 1/16th, 1/12th, and ready to go. Virtually all set up for soft plastics, ready to go for just that changing on the run scenario. So that's the other thing. You got to be able to move and think quick on your feet and change. And that's, for me, that was a real learning lesson for me with Rossi on Sunday. Is just within those first 10 minutes of fishing, I changed up, and straight away it just changed the bite for me.
Yeah.
So it's just...
We had total probably 15 or 16 rods on the boat, and that boat has an awesome rod locker, by the way, to be able to fit that many in it. But I think if you're there with a smaller number of rods and you're trying to tie a leader and wasting those crucial minutes, you can really miss out. This bite window on Sunday, by 8:30, the sun had come out from behind the clouds and the wind had dropped from, I don't know what it was, maybe 12 to 15 k's an hour down to about 5, and it's just bang, gone. But it just stopped the whole bite window. So you can't afford to be sitting there trying to tie a new leader or a different size jig head or anything like that, because you'll literally miss out.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple of things I want to touch on there. First of all, I want to go back to Grant Kime, for those who don't know. My memory of him through the Southern Brim series is you'd go down to fish around and all the rods on his boat were all rigged up with Duros.
Yeah.
Do you guys have some comment on that?
Yeah, I mean, Cromer and I were good mates with, when we first met him, it was like, oh, that's Kime, and Kime's bigger than just brim fishing as well. Like, he's in some of the most iconic fishing videos in Australia, like Marlin Off the Rocks and Land-Based Addiction and all that sort of stuff, for those that weren't aware. But yeah, a gun in the brim fishing space as well. And we sort of looked up to him initially, but then became friends with him over the years. And he was so open and he just shared all his knowledge. He didn't care. Like, he didn't sort of lie about what he was using or anything. And he loved those Duros. In the early days when Cromer and I sort of first started to fish together and we knew Kime, we actually had a saying on the boat, WWKD. What would Kime do? I don't know if Cromer's ever told you this story, but yeah, we'd be sitting there and, we might be going through a rough patch where we haven't had a bite for 20 minutes, half an hour, something like that. And it's like, what would Kime do? And quite often you would see him in something like the car park in Pittwater on the Hawkesbury. He'd be there with everyone else, and everyone would go there in the morning. There'd be 20 boats on it. And then within half an hour, half of them are gone. And then 2 hours later, it's like just Kime and maybe one or two other boats there. And including us, we'd go, oh, this isn't working today. Let's go somewhere else. And you come back at the end of the day to the weigh-in and Kime's like, yeah, man, we smashed it. What'd you go for? Like, yeah, he just, I don't know. He used to really just stick to that one method and it came through for him a lot.
Yeah, very, very cool. Now, if we jump back into the fishing, so it's 8:30, you've got your 3 fish. You have a special rule on your boat or on that who caught the last fish gets to do a bit of coaching of the person who didn't catch the last fish. Do you want to have a talk about that? Because I've not heard of that rule before.
Yeah, again, it's just a weird thing that Cromo and I have had on the boat over the years. Whoever catches the last fish is allowed to coach. right? And we're talking, and often it was me, of course, but telling Cromo, mate, you're casting in the wrong areas, you're fishing too fast, you need to slow down. I think you need to try this other lure. Yeah, just banter on the boat, really. But yeah, Sean's been brought in on that one as well.
Yeah, Sean's dropped out here. It's just you and I for the moment.
Oh, mate, yes, he has.
He'll be able to join back in. Here he is. All right. So on this particular day, was there a little bit of coaching going on? Was there a bit of helpful instruction?
I tried for a little bit, but it didn't work. I think I'm up against the master of coaching between him and Cromo. Once you realise your place, you soon shut up real quick and not say too much.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. So 8:30, it shut down a little bit. Did you get any more after that, or what you end up doing?
So we made moves after that. We probably made the wrong move next, which was to head to One Tree Point and One Tree Bay, which is on the southern side of the basin. The reason I say the wrong move is the wind was coming from the south. I was thinking if it was a bit more west-southwest, it might push through there nicely. But when we got there, it was really still. And, yeah, we didn't stay there long. We just, knew straight away that the wind was not right for it. So we headed back over actually towards the islands, the two islands off St. George's Basin, the suburb itself.
Yeah.
And there's a big yellow channel marker, or not channel marker, but a warning marker or whatever it is on the southern side of the most southern island. We did a drift through there, which has been fruitful in the past. For those that sort of don't know, there is a couple of big mooring blocks roughly between the two islands and to the east. Those big mooring blocks were there for some seaplanes that used to operate out of the basin like years and years ago. I think it was post Second World War, and they can sometimes work okay. But yeah, I think we might have picked up one undersize or something through there, but yeah, struggled. Worked over to the western side a little bit more on a couple of banks over there. One thing that we did notice and that we were really happy about is the fact that we could see a lot of cockleweed starting to grow back. I believe it has actually sort of died off and thinned out a lot over the last few years.
Mm.
And I haven't fished the basin like all summer, but it must have been a really good summer for the cockleweed because we found a lot of it, and you can normally find a few brimmer around near it.
Mm.
But yeah, that was a really positive that came out of it, is that the cockleweed has sort of started to come back as well.
Yeah, no, definitely a great place for fish down there.
Yeah. Yeah, so we sort of picked up 1 and 2. We got some great bycatch. We caught some really good flatties and stuff around some of those areas. But I think it was around 12 o'clock, Shauno, we decided to go back to square one.
Yeah, we decided to go back down to Errol Bay and give that another crack and see if we can get that last afternoon bite. And you think back to the start of the day and the conversations we had, once we had our bag, your mind sort of changes focus, and then you start chasing just that big fish, those big fish, because we knew we had an all right bag. It wasn't great, but we knew we had an all right bag. And I suppose it's one of those things, do you stay somewhere and persevere and try and just weed through any small fish that you can get? But we made the decision to move, and then, we made the decision to go back there late in the afternoon to try and get that one big fish. And I'll let Glenn tell the story. We thought we had one there with about 20 minutes to go, half an hour to go, and unfortunately didn't turn out that way. But yeah, we went back there and done the same drift again, exact the same technique through the same spots. I think we did 3 or 4 drifts over the course of the next sort of hour and a half, just trying to find that big fish, and we just couldn't get that one bite in the afternoon. So
yeah, we still caught fish back on the flatty, and it was good. And we were just thinking the big ones got to come, but a lot of them were sort of 7 to 29 forkers. So still good fish, but yeah, just not upgrades for us. But yeah, we did get that one hit, and this happens a lot in Botany Bay on the Tower of Flats. So anyone that's fished that will know. You get the nice hit, you get the nice run, and then the fish starts to arc around your kayak or your boat, and you know straight away that it's a trevally. Weirdly, though, this trevally was massive. It was probably 60 centimetres long. It was huge. And it didn't fight. Like the ones in Botany Bay go mental, right? It's hard to, like, it's pulling in a dinner plate on the side in Botany Bay. But this one came in so easily. Yeah, it was strange. But we thought that was the one, right? The big kicker fish that we needed. It's always the way. Everyone books the trevally and you always think it's the big bream, but yeah.
We at one stage were saying, no, it's got to be a flathead because it's just going. It's not going hard. And then we saw the silver going, oh, it's a bream. And then we're going, no.
Yep.
It didn't do the normal fight.
Yeah, that's right. So at the end of not getting the trevally or getting the trevally, was that the end of your fishing for the day, more or less?
Yeah, after that, we just struggled to get anything, even undersized bream, anything for like the last hour. And we actually pulled the pin early, believe it or not. Like it was just that shut down. We were the first ones to weigh in. We weighed in at about, I think it was 1:30 or something like that. And just took it as an opportunity to hit the road. We knew Sean had a big drive ahead of him, 5+ hours to get back to my place and clean the boat and all that sort of thing. So, yeah, we just took the chance to get out of there.
Yeah. All right. I reckon that's a terrific rundown of the competition. I thank you for sharing your Giro techniques and what have you. That's very cool. For second place, what did you guys get to take home?
We got check for $1,000.
Nice.
Which goes well. I think there's a fake check, but we didn't get that. So, yeah, Cromo's got about be 2 or 3 fake checks on his wall that eyeing off still. I've still got the Southern Brim Series one from grand final winners from 2016 on my wall, and he keeps eyeing that off when he comes over to my place. But, yeah, might try and get that second place fake check. They're good.
Definitely.
But next year we want that trophy for Kime. So, yeah. Stand by.
Yeah, absolutely. I reckon that's a great rundown of all things competition. Before we head off, is there anyone or any groups that you want to give a shout out to or say thank you to?
Oh, mate, look, yeah, I suppose for me it's probably, and you'll reiterate this, we use all diver gear and whatnot, mate, and been using it now for many, many years. And, mate, I can't rate it highly enough. I love the stuff. The rods and reels, I use all the Daiwa soles and the Daiwa Zero rods. So I've been using them now for a couple of years, and mate, I can't rate them any more highly enough. And a big shout out to Cromo as well for allowing us to use the boat to keep the team alive while he's been out of action fishing the ABTs around the country. So big shout out to him and Rossi, mate. It's been it's fun, mate. So yeah, it's really good. Power pole, of course.
Yeah, and power pole. Obviously, we've had that on several of our boats previously, mostly Rangers, but this ABT Grand Final boat that Cromo won, yeah, really nice boat, Bass Pro 463 aluminium boat. It's actually got power pole as the Rego sticker on it, and there will be power poles going on it soon, and that's just going to top that little boat off nicely. So come and check it out in future rounds of East Coast Brim Series, especially like you obviously see them on the big 20-foot bass boats, but you don't often see them on sort of smaller aluminium boats. So come and check it out. Yeah, it's going to be a good addition to that boat. We could have used them, I think, a lot over the flats on that Sunday morning, especially when we sort of caught a fish and the drift might have been going a little bit faster than what we would have liked.
Yeah.
Cromo and I in the other boats, we often power pole down as soon as we catch a fish, and then we fan all of our casts around the boat just to make sure we've cleared out everything and then lift them up to keep drifting. So, yeah, good piece of kit.
Absolutely.
Just wanted to also thank Cromo for letting us use his second boat. And, yeah, the Daiwa gear is just the best. It's outstanding. And look forward to using it in the future.
Awesome, guys. Well, that's a great rundown. Look, I was glad to see you guys rank in this competition, given what the round was all about. Thanks for coming on, and hopefully we get to talk to you before the end of the season.
Thanks, Andrew. Much appreciated.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Really appreciate it, Andrew.
Okay, thanks, guys. All right. And obviously, our new sponsor, Podium Marine Wraps, is someone you want to go and have a talk to if you're looking at wrapping your boat, kayak, or yacht or whatever. Now, they can take your boat and transform it into something special. They can do something as simple as a color change, add graphics, add sponsors, logos, or whatever you want. They can put your favorite fish, your shark, whatever you like to take. They can put photos of your kids. It doesn't matter. And Corey can take care of all of that. So look, a couple of things. If you're interested in that, you can contact Podium Marine Wraps if you jump on podiummarinerwraps.com.au and go to the contact us part. You can fill in a form. You can email info@podiummarinerwraps.com.au or jump online and Corey's phone number is there. Now, the last thing I want to say about their website is there's a whole page full of before and after. So if you've got a boat that is a little bit tired and you're thinking, I wonder how that'd go if I put a wrap on it. I wonder if that would just spruce it up and maybe to help it last, maybe keep you happier about your boat and make it last a little bit longer. But either way, you're definitely going to look a whole lot cooler with a Podium Marine wrap on your boat or yak. So jump over there, have a talk to Corey and tell him Deethy sent you. And if you do that, he's going to give you 10% off. How good's that? All right. So coming in first place, teamfishing.com.au. Dropping 3 fish for 2.39. I have Jason, Graham, and Christian Bermudas. Did I get that right?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you got it perfect. Well done.
Sorry, I hesitated when I went to say it. Mate, congratulations to you guys. It's a great win down there, and I would have been proud to win the first Grant Kime Memorial one. So congrats on that.
Thank you very much, Andrew.
All right. So now I've spoken to a couple of the guests, so I'm actually chomping at the bit to see how you guys did it. So let's start. We had a bit of a pre-chat. Tell us about your pre-fish. It was a bit special.
Yeah, it was a little bit special. It was actually horrible, to be honest. Yeah, rain, wind, you name it. It was absolutely devastated to go into the water and go into those conditions and say, here we go. We're going to struggle through the whole pre-fish.
All right. So, and how did it go? Did you get any fish at all?
Yeah, we put in at Sanctuary Point, and I think just the way the weather was, within 10 minutes, I wanted off the boat. I'd had enough of white caps everywhere. And Christian, he got a couple of smaller fish from memory on blades.
Yeah, we did.
We decided to, rather than battle the wind and the waves, pulled the boat out and trailed it round down to Basin View and then started a pre-fish down there.
Okay.
And pretty much where we got a couple of good mates down that way who helped us out with some info before, telling us that they couldn't find fish on the edges. They were struggling. The fish were in the deep. That was Nathan and Marcelo from another team. From our previous comp, we had a couple of marks behind the islands in about the 10-foot mark. And
yeah, like the western side of the islands.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how was that on pre-fish in terms of wind and swell?
It was nowhere near as rough that side as it was on the Errol Bay side. Yeah, we ran over those marks, and Christian pretty much put 3 fish straight away in the boat, which we marked on our sounder, and they were good fish, much better than Errol Bay side.
Okay.
And then we just sort of jumped around, but I think that morning had sort of done us. We were ready to get off the water pretty early. I think we hit a couple of edges just to sort of see what we could find. Yeah, that was our plan, to hit those marks. And we got a couple of on the eastern side in the deeper water as well. We marked them. I don't think I caught a fish that day. Christian was just braining them on his blades. It didn't matter what blade he threw. He was catching fish hand over fist.
Oh.
It was good to watch.
Yeah, a lot of things, like I said, that information with Marcelo and Nathan Young gave us that confidence to fish it the way we did fish it. Little techniques like rolling slow and don't go too fast. And anything that they gave us, I took it on board and I listened and pretty much put into practice, and it was spot on.
Okay.
So, yeah, it was really, really nice from them to keep us on the loop through the whole pre-fish that they have done.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So the Saturday was like you said, a windy, rainy, pretty not very nice day. Now the Sunday was predicted to be just a little bit less wind, but without the rain. So maybe give us an idea of how your day went, how you caught your fish.
pretty much took off from the start, headed straight to those marks west of the island, stopped 50 metres short of them, went over him, bang, he hooked a fish. And then I think the second fish he got was his 37 fork, and thought, wow, this is all right. Yeah, and then we just followed contour line along beside the back of those islands.
And then Jason hooked up to a 25 forker. It took us about half an hour to get our bag.
Right.
So we had a 32, 37, and a 25 forker by that time.
Okay. Yeah, so you'd done well in the first period, so that would have put you at like 7:30, 8 o'clock. You got your bag.
Yeah.
Nice. And what sort of water depth were you guys hitting at that point?
10-foot mark. Oh, yeah, I was mixing it up with plastics and blades and that. Christian pretty much stuck to his blades. We've probably done that drift, I think, twice through there. It wasn't really a drift. It was sort of more on the electric, following the line against the wind. And pretty much every spot where we'd mark the fish, we'd catch a fish.
Yeah, okay.
And then I think it was the second or third time over it, we didn't get a fish.
Yeah.
And that's when we decided to go a little bit wider, a little bit deeper. And we hit a spot where we upgraded that 25 to a 26. Then we upgraded to a 27 on the same spot. And we went to a 28. And we got stuck with that 28, catching 28, 27, 26, 28. And we just couldn't get away from them.
Right. Okay. And what you were using blades and what have you? What sort of blades were you running?
I personally had 3 different blades. I had the Eco Gear VX35 on the 439 color.
Okay.
I had one of Peter Cook's blades as well, put on there. And the one that was doing the damage mostly was a discontinued blade called the Big Eye from Berkeley.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, that's basically all I was throwing and mixing it up and trying to find something different.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not sure what it is about the discontinued lures, but sometimes you find one, you can't get it anymore, and then you get all your fish on it.
Yeah, well, that's right.
And how did you find, so you're fishing sort of that 10-foot mark, so maybe 3 meters-ish. Were you throwing it out and just hopping it across the bottom, or were you slow rolling it?
So slow rolling it to start off. I can't really tell you how many winds, but yeah, slow rolling to start off, and then slowly hopping it 20 to 30 centimeters from the bottom, and then keep rolling it. So it's a mixture of both technique. I found the slower we went, the better it was. And I also personally found that you have to bring it all the way to the boat, because some of the hookups were right on the boat.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Okay, so have you taken it right at the boat? Were they taking it near the top of the water, or just as it started to go vertical? So it's come across.
Just as it started going vertical.
Yeah, okay. So maybe a change in direction. That's really interesting. And your 37 forker, do you remember what that one came on?
Yeah, that came on the actual Big Eye.
Okay.
Yeah.
Colours. There was so the 439 is like an olive colour. What about the other two?
So the Big Eye was like from memory, Port Pearl watermelon, which is like a green, yellow bottom and a little bit of a red on the side. And the Peter Cook's blade that I was using was like a natural colour with the stripes. It's almost looked like a tiger prawn.
Okay.
It's got little stripes on the side. But I don't know the colour.
Yeah, Peter Cook special.
Yeah, well, that's it.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. That's funny. Last comp I did down the Basin, I caught illegal in the comp on one of his blades. There you go.
But there you go. Yeah. Fair
enough. All right. Okay, so you'd followed the contours. You'd had a run where you didn't get any fish. How was the rest of your day? Did you find any more after that? You had last one was a 28 we spoke about.
Yeah, so I think Jason and I decided to go between the other side of the island, between the island and McLean Point, I believe.
Yep.
And we caught a 29, I think, Jason.
Yeah,
we got that 29.
Upgraded a fish there, yeah.
So we upgraded a fish, but then we didn't stick around. I think that was when we made the decision to go back, and we did another drift on the western side of the island. We got nothing, and then we decided to go across towards the end of One Tree Bay, Bonita Point, and use our electric towards Swan Bay in the same depth that we were catching them, 3 to 4 meters of water.
Yep.
And Jason, I hooked up to a big flatty, 80-centimeter flatty.
Wow.
Yeah, and we landed that, and it was all like pretty cool to watch, and we video and all that. And then Jason hooked up to this beautiful Tyler, which he said, Christian, this fish is absolutely rubbish. Don't worry about the next thing we know, it was a 32 centimeter bream. I think he was trying to get rid of it the way he was fishing it.
I was just about to apologise and hold no. Let's go.
Let's snap this off. It's a waste of time. So
pretty much, it was very close to that because we just spent 10 minutes dealing with his flathead.
Yeah, and
then I threw out, and it took the lure pretty much as soon as I was going to bring it out of the water, and that's why I thought Taylor and just ran off and crazy. And yeah, it came in as a bream.
Fair enough.
That was an upgrade from that 29, and it put us with 2 32s and a 37.
Yeah, nice. Which gave you a total of, I think, 2.39, maybe. Yeah.
Not yet.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Okay, all right. Carry on.
Yeah, after that we went and we had a bit of a look in Jewfish Bay near the entrance to Sussex. We didn't get anything there. We just sort of made the decision we're going to move around a lot if we want to get. Christian knows a flat in Errol Bay, and so I kept saying, I reckon this comp's going to be one on the edges. There's got to be fish on the edges somewhere. And we went round something better. We didn't want to go back and hit that same spot again. And
I think at one time he was ready to push me out of the water.
I like it.
And I also said to him, if we don't get them on the edges, I want you to fish the deep with your vibe, because he was just raining fish hand over fist. It was doing my head in all day on the boat. He would have been easily over the weekend 20 to 30 fish up on what I'd hooked. Yeah, we went to the flat, no joy, and I said, let's just go. We'll get 2 drifts on this deeper water in Errol Bay. Show them what you got with that blade, Christian. Pretty much, I think it was 5 or 10 to 2 o'clock or something, and Christian called last cast, and I went for one extra one, and bang, hooked this fish. And he's packing everything up, and we landed it. It just had a massive belly on it, eh?
Yeah, so it was another 32, but compared to our first 32, it actually looked like it was on steroids. It was really, really thick. It was just like a monster kind of short fish, and that was like half eyes all around the boat. And I was driving the boat as he was trying to, upgrade and get rid of the other fish, and we were like, we just didn't want to be late. It was the last cast.
No, that was the winning fish.
And that was the winning fish. Yeah.
There you go. Well, that's a good end to the day. And what did the last one come on?
That was on a Eco Gear VX40 in the 439.
I tend to like the 40s in a couple of brands, but they cast a lot further. So
believe me, I'd thrown every blade I had trying to mimic what Christian was doing, but yeah, I got my 2 fish on that. So
yeah, is like, you must have talked about this. Is there any reason what you think why Christian would have got them over you, like in good numbers? Could you work it out, or you still confused?
I don't think we actually talked about and worked it out. I think for me personally, it was more like the slower I went, the more relaxed and the more you felt the bottom. And it was just like a confident thing based on the information that we got from Marcelo Manuelian and Nathan Young. So for me, it was always like listening, and we had nothing else really.
Very good. Very good. In terms of lines and leaders for the weekend, what were you guys running?
I'm running 4-pound leader, around an 8-pound braid. I think I asked him a couple of times, what lead is that? What lead is that? It was 4-pound too. The only thing I put it down to too is running a bit shorter rod. And I thought maybe that might have had something to do.
Yeah, I was running longer rods. So I was running the 732 ULFS in the infit range, the SK. And I was also running the 362. Yeah, so it's just a little bit longer rods. Same again, 8-pound braid, 4-pound leader.
Yeah.
2,500 reels. Yeah. Yeah.
Very nice. I do like the Infi range. I've only got one at the moment, but I think there's more coming.
Yeah, look, I absolutely love them. I think it just suits me in every angle.
Yeah. Very good. All right. So going back to the weigh-in, what was the confidence level?
We weren't really thinking much at all, just sort of hoping for maybe top 10 somewhere.
Yeah, I'm the same. I thought hopefully top 10 with a bit of luck if it was a tough day, maybe top 5, but that was actually being a little bit greedy.
Fair enough. Well, turned out to be spot on, mate. You're definitely in the top 5. So, all right. For first place, what did you guys get to take home?
$2,500, 2.5.
Yeah, but also the trophy, our name on the trophy. I think that for me was like, it was quite special. All there. Yeah.
Yeah, no, both. Definitely a good part of it. All right. I think that covers all the fishing and all that sort of stuff. Before we head off, is there anyone that you guys want to send a thank you to or give a shout out to?
I personally want to say thank you to my wife and my 3 amazing kids. Their support means everything to me. Fishing.com.au, Adam, what a legend he is. And the East Coast Brim Series for putting such an amazing event and being so spot on and they're just absolutely great at what they do.
Yeah, I'll second that. It's my wife and family, they support in doing this crazy brim fishing that we've sort of gotten into, and it's a lot of time away if you want to be serious about it. And yeah, Adam from fishing.com, I love going to his shop. It's just like, you go in there and he's a wealth of knowledge and he's always willing to have a chat and whatever. And just a great place to go and shop, buy your stuff. And the East Coast guys and all the competitors and everyone who's a part of it, because without those guys, we've got nothing. I just appreciate their efforts and everything for putting them on.
That's exactly right.
Very good, guys. All right, we're going to leave it there. Congratulations, guys. It's a fantastic win. Thanks for coming on. I'll talk to you next time.
Thank Andrew.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thanks, guys. All right, so those of you who are regular listeners to this show would have heard me talk about Sacred Soul Wellness out of Caringbah. And honestly, I have gone a little bit quiet on that. There's a couple of reasons for that, but mostly because I've been a little bit slack. But in any case, time to get back on track. And for me, that is definitely looking at yoga. So if you're in the Shire, you want to get things working a little bit better, get a little bit more flexible, and just try to do some, I don't know how to put it, I guess some upkeep on your body. I don't think you can look any further than Sacred Soul Wellness in Caringbah. They have a couple of beginners courses which run periodically, and look, even most of the classes, like I'm not the best at this at the moment, let's just say that, and I pretty much will attend any class that I have time to go to. And in a yoga class, for anyone that hasn't done that, you can kind of tailor it to yourself. Like if there's things you can't quite get to, that's okay. Just do what you can, and next week maybe you'll get there. Anyway, Sacred Soul Wellness in Caringbah, jump online and have a look at that. And I'm definitely going to be there a little bit more over the coming weeks. So if you're interested, shoot me a message and I'll hook you up. There's 3 free classes for Brim Fishing Project members. And in any case, it'd be good to see you down there doing something for yourself. All right, so there you have it, everybody. The Grant Kime Memorial Round. And look, I was a bit nervous about doing the intros and outros for this because it is a little bit, I guess it's a little bit close to home and what have you, and I wanted to do it justice. So hopefully everyone's enjoyed the episode, and the episode and the event has been a nice little tribute to Grant. Yeah, certainly in my mind, especially when I see some Duros or some Duro style lures or what have you. In any case, next week, I think we'll be heading across to Western Australia to do the ABT out of Western Australia on the same day as this one. And then we can move forward into some other episodes. Look, I hope you enjoyed this show. I appreciate you listening to the end, and I'm going to talk to you next week on the Brim Fishing Project.
Thanks for listening. Hopefully you were informed, inspired, and entertained. If you were able to learn something or just enjoyed listening, please consider subscribing and rate us on your favourite podcasting platform.